Yeah, with me, when you got 60 plants in three
Yeah.
rows, it makes a mess. I'll just tell you, it's everywhere. It's I end up pruning more than I would normally anyway, because you still have to have air in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I'm in a tight space. I'm a 20 by 30.
Yeah.
That's it
And
now.
yeah, we'll definitely prune it.
So
Yeah.
I'm getting plenty of production. I mean, I got more. I'm going to try to can some tomatoes today, but
Okay.
but man, I go out there every day, spend about 2 hours trying to sort out the vines.
Yeah, that's yeah. I don't know, but I don't prune mine either. I used to back in the day, but now I just kind of let them go. But I also don't pin them up or nothing, so they just lean all over everything. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah, and
what?
you don't have probably as much moisture as we do over here,
No,
like for blight.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
or like mildew or whatever. Like
Yeah.
we do get mildew like on our what is it called?
Zucchini.
Grape and pumpkins. So,
In the
but
beginning of the year, springtime.
no, in the fall.
Oh,
Because July and August is like our monsoon season, so humidity increases a lot, from 0 to like 20%, which is it's a lot for us, right? But
Hmm.
um, yeah, when that humidity increases, and then most people, they don't thin their stuff out because we don't have to here. Um, then we end up with all those bad things.
well,
Like
that's a pathogenic fungi. I learned yesterday.
what's that now?
Powdery mildew is a
Yes.
pathogenic fungi.
Yep.
I learned that yesterday.
Nice. One of the crazy thing about that is if you can actually use lactobacillus to be able to get rid of those guys, which is your lab stuff.
Yeah, it gives them some microbes to compete with.
Yeah, the lactobacillus outcompetes it. So
Need more. I guess you need more bacteria than to balance out the fungi.
well, it's what is it? All molds are funguses, but not all fungus are molds, right? Or something like that. So it's I don't think it's necessary. Is it a fungus? I don't think it's a fungus, but I think it's a mold.
Okay, there in the book I was. Let's see. Yeah, I'm in the book I was reading. It said that rust. So that's what I know. It's that rust, and there was a third one that they said was pathogenic fungi, and by adding more bacteria, they'll compete with them.
Yes. I definitely agree with that, right? That's the normal living soul thing where one thing will outcompete the other thing, right? So, but it depends on the food sources that are also available. If you go to a forested system where there's no simple sugars, right? No greens for the bacteria to be able to feed on, the fungi is always going to win because there's more fungal food in that soil system. But if you were to go to a normal system, our vegetable gardens, which should be roughly around 1-to-1, where there's equal parts of both, you can definitely sway that system one way or the other, depending on what type of microbes you throw in there.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. First you try to get microbes because you have none because you've been fertilizing for your whole life.
Yes.
Then you get microbes, and then you start trying to, let's put more of this microbe to help this microbe, and you just get one step deeper.
Yeah, it really just comes down to like, so the way I was taught, right, through the school is we always base it upon the plant. So you look at the plant and decide what succession the plant is, and then we manipulate the soil ecosystem to that plant. Normally for us guys that are, or ladies that are growing just, our vegetables and stuff like that, we need to get somewhere around 1-to-1. So equal parts, equal food sources for both, and then making sure that you just inoculate with all the biology that you could ever find. That way it gets you in the ballpark. Now, when I'm working with specific growers on specific plants, and that's all they're growing, now we're dialing in to, okay, Now I'm looking for this specific biology in the soil. And that's where I start going into like, okay, we need to brew some teas to bring in this type of biology or knock this type of biology back, right? So it's just kind of this or that. Depends on what you're doing, always.
Yeah, so I got the tomatoes going. I'm trying to set up now with this compost to put in my elderberries,
Mm.
going to more of a little bit of a woody, and I'm hoping this compost is going to help with the fungi deal. Now, you might have already responded online, but I might not have looked at it. But so this, like 3/4 of the way composted pile.
Yeah.
And that's 136 today, so it's still
Still
thing.
Yep.
But the deal with that, there's still some woody stuff in it.
Yeah.
I just use that as like a I call it a sub mulch. So what I would do is I would dig my hole, put my elderberry in there, get that going, and then start mulching and use that as my first layer of mulch. And then go ahead and put some regular just regular hardwood mulch that's not been decayed at all on top of that to make kind of like a sandwich to keep it nice and moist. Will that work, or will that mulch on top be an issue?
Is this for this is for you're planting your elderberries and this is what you're going to do? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so I'll plant I'll dig me about a foot by foot hole.
Yeah.
And I'll do my normal kind of engineering soil kind of thing, mixture, worm castings, all the good stuff with some topsoil, some cocoa coir, whatever, some perlite, and fill that 1 by 1 hole at kelp, 1 by 1 hole with that mix and my elderberry bush. And then I'll go probably 6 inches away from the stalk and start mulching. And what I was thinking about, because you said for that stuff to cure, it has to sit for 4 to 6 to 8 weeks, whatever, to let the fungi start doing its thing. So what I thought was, of course, I'll put a little bit of the myzocordia or spore, mycorrhizal spores in with my hole when I do my engineered soil. But then I thought, come about 6 inches away from the stalk, and then take this stuff that's pretty much decayed. Let's say it's still cooking, but once it cools down, pretty much decayed. Put that down first, maybe a couple inches, even up to 4 inches, depending on how much I have. I have 6 plants I got to plant, and then go ahead and take some regular hardwood mulch and cover that over. So that would then give me my maybe what call moisture barrier or sun barrier off of my decayed 3/4 compost, whatever you might want to call it. That makes sense?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. You spent a lot of hard work making that compost. I would not top dress with that compost. That compost would be my number one thing that I put down into the soil where the roots are for the plants. Now, I would only use that once the compost is finished, as in it is no longer heating up, right? So as long as that pile's still cooking, you're still going to have to maintain it, manage it, and turn it and flip it, right? To make sure that it's continually breaking down, because what we don't want to do is, if it's still cooking, the pile goes anaerobic, now you've ruined the entire pile, biology-wise, right? Not nutrient-wise. Nutrient-wise, like, yes, if it goes anaerobic, you're going to gas off a lot of those nutrients, right? But biologically wise, if it goes anaerobic, you just kind of destroy that compost because that biology is going to struggle to come back to what it was before. So I would not necessarily top dress with that. I would take that material and I would use it in the bottom of the hole, because that's where it has all the biology and it has all of the compounds in it that will help your plant grow happy and healthy. And not only that, but it'll also help break up your clay soil, right? So bringing that biology and bringing that compost into that area will help kind of break open the clay soil that's right around that root zone.
Yeah, so my issue at this point, then, that's gonna be Christmas. And I gotta get these elderberries into the next month or so, so to let that sit for 4 to 6 to 8 weeks, it's kind of unusable until next year for me then.
Yes, absolutely. If you're looking for a fungal dominated compost, you're going to have to let that sit probably at least 4 months, 3 to 4 months, before you even touch it. If you're looking for a fungal dominated compost. So in your case, yeah, that's probably not going to be anything that you're going to use this year.
So if it cools down, can I mix a little bit in with my engineered soil?
Yes. So once it cools down, once it stops heating up and it goes to ambient temperature, you can use it wherever you want. Just understand that it is a bacterially dominated compost. So make sure you appropriately put that with whatever plant that you're trying to grow.
Well, it's all about the elderberries right now. I'm trying to get them in the ground.
Yeah, that's not necessarily going to be what you want because your soil is already, what's it called, bacterially heavy on bacteria. So if you're going to add more bacterial foods and everything else in there, that's going to not be great. But here's the thing. If you're going to add spores into it, then it really doesn't matter, right? Because as long as you have a food source for those spores, which is some type of cellulose or lignin, then you'll be fine.
So the 3/4 composted compost could be considered a cellulose food source.
I mean, so if we're talking about compost number pile 1 and compost pile number 2, both of them have foods. What is it called? Fungal foods in them, right? So they could both be used as that. It's just they're not matured to the point where you're starting to get those spores to spread all over the place and build hyphae and networks, right? So that's what we're looking for if we're going to put it into the ground.
Okay, so if I mix a little in the ground, though, would it, so if I mix it, and I'm probably trying to make you give me an answer that you don't have. But if I was going to mix that as part of my engineered soil, then over the next 6 months, around the root zone, it'll start to mature or cure, or whatever you want to call it, rest in the root zone. So by spring of next year, the soil that I mixed would then be heading toward that fungal dominant, that fungal soil.
Maybe.
So I'd be put it in there. It would be bacteria dominated, but it would have the cellulose, still some pieces in there, and I'm going to throw some mycorrhizal spores in there. And so although it's bacteria when I throw it in, like in the next month, as a portion, maybe like a 10%, it would still be food for the mycorrhizal, and over through the winter would form this network possibly.
Yes, you're on the right. You're right. Yeah. So depending on the type of spores that you're throwing in there, right? It depends. Some plants form relationships, some plants don't, and not all mycorrhizal is, because there's, I don't know how many different species out there, right? There's a lot of different species out there. So by putting the diversity into the soil, we're giving it a bigger chance to be able to grow and do what it's supposed to. The plant will also feed the soil system, right? So we have those food sources for the mycorrhizal fungi, or just fungi in general, in the soil, so that if we do have spores down there, they have something to feed on. So as long as you keep that system there, then yes, we hope that all of those things will wake up and be able to do that. Just remember that I would put those spores, when we're talking about biology and having to be next to the root zone, they have to be extremely close. Okay? So like if you're just putting it on the outside of the root ball and there's no roots there, we're hoping that it goes in there. So, or we're hoping that a root comes by and really close, like right next to it, to be able to wake that spore up.
Okay, so I should be sprinkling that then right in the root zone, when I'm, when I take it out and I kind of mix up the roots a little bit, to get them to want to start growing. I hold it in my hand, just sprinkle some right there, right in the roots.
Yep, absolutely. That's probably the best way to do it. Yeah.
And it is endo. There's 3 different species in there. I don't have my notes right in front of me, but I did research it. But they're endo, and there are 3 different species of endo, mycorrhizal.
Okay. Yeah, there's a bunch of different products out there. The one that I push is just Dr. Earth because it has 16 different mycorrhizal fungi. So you get about 8 endos and 8 ectos, and that's just my personal preference. If you go look, you might be able to find something that has more variety of spores, but that's the one so far that I've seen on the store shelves across the country that you could buy pretty easily to be able to kind of have diversity there.
Okay. Yeah, I bought Bliss. I think it's called Bliss.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of different products out there, but I like when it comes to biology, I like diversity. So from what I've seen on the store shelves, Dr. Earth is going to get you at least 16 plus some other bacterias. So
okay. So once I use this up, or maybe I'll go ahead and get some of that Dr. Earth, just mix it all together.
yeah, whenever you go to plant, I would say just, if you have a little, you don't need a lot. A little goes a long way. We're talking about, what is it called when they're talking about propagules or granules? It's like billions, right? For every ounce or something like that. So.
Cool.
But yeah. All right. Sweet. Hello, Mary Heather. I know you were talking. You're snipping. Let's see you. What you got right there? Basil, parsley, basil.
This is calendula. There's definitely a lot of basil.
Yeah.
I threw a whole pack of seeds and they just took over. And then, of course, my zinnias.
Yeah. Nice. All right.
And then this is habanero.
You eat spicy stuff?
Oh, yeah. I shouldn't. It always messes with me, but I like the flavor.
The older I get,
I like
the less
the
and less
spice.
I can tolerate that stuff. So.
Yeah. I like the spice.
Yeah. Alrighty, guys. Let's jump into our normal stuff. So, what's new? Soul Wars has started. It's begun. Begun is the right verbiage, the right word there. It has begun. We are on day 4 today. So remember, guys, that to get your 2 posts in a day, I'm trying to go around and make sure that I am reminding people when I get there to be able to post and make sure stuff. One thing I will tell you guys that, if you post, a good way to remind your partner is to tag them in the post. If you tag them in the post, they'll get a notification, and then they'll be like, oh yeah, I got to do that too. Because at the end of the day, we all want to win, right? So
yeah, I think Red was confused that we had to do 2 because he would text me like, oh, I did mine today. And so I just translated in Arabic for him. And so he's like, oh, thank you for the Arabic.
Oh,
so
nice.
I think he didn't understand. So.
Yeah. There's definitely a language barrier there. So
yeah.
But I saw that he started doing too. So so that's good. Soil Games is in full swing. So we just started at the beginning of the month. Remember that it goes on engagement in the community. So if you're looking to get on the leaderboard, the 30-day leaderboard that is, for the community to be able to play Soil Games, then I would start commenting, posting, getting your points up that way. We do have 3 competitors going head to head, and I still got to contact you guys, but I'm thinking there's probably going to be somewhere around the 23rd, so in about 2 weeks that we're going to host that game. But I'll contact you guys on that individually. So what's coming? So I still have Soil Feud that's going to be coming. I'm still trying to work out a couple of things on how we're actually going to do that. If you guys have suggestions on how, because it's all supposed to be learning, right? So I think right now what I want to do is I want to get you guys a piece in the module. You guys will get about a week to study that. And then you'll have Soil Feud at the end of the week or whatever day we find that is going to be best for everybody. And then we'll play that game. How many people is it going to be? I don't know. I don't know if we'll get 5-on-5 like they actually do in the real game, but it will definitely be a teams thing. So I also have, I'll just let the hat out. No, I won't say anything about that. Sweet. So that's that. I might be working on something else. Not working on it, but just thinking about something else. Let's see. All right. Now we're going to go to the community because this is the part where everybody wants to see where they're stacking up to be. All right. Let's blow this up a little bit so everybody can see. All right. Looks like for the 7 day, remember this is 7 day rolling. I'm still waiting to see if Sam will change this so we can switch it up. But 7 days. So from last week, Thursday, to this week, Thursday. Looks like we got Jim at the top, Julie and Mary Heather. Our traditional people are normally there. Looks like we got Demer in the running, but we got Red there, and Betsy is there as well. And then we've got the bottom four turning it out at Tania, KC, Patrick, and David. So if you guys want to get up into these 30-day, make sure that you're engaging in the community. All right, on the 30-day, this is what it looks like. But remember, this is from last month on the 7th until this month. So still plenty of time to make up your points and get where you want to be. Actually, this is the 7 day. This is the 7 day for August because today is the 7th. So this is literally what it looks like. Yeah. So that's what that looks like. So how do you play? How do you get to the top? You engage. You post. You comment. People post and comment on yours, and that's how you get points. All right, we're going to stop that. Let's jump into the topics. So we kind of already talked about some stuff because Jim had some questions at the beginning. So let's talk about Molly. Betsy. I think it was Betsy.
Hey,
Betsy
did you hit the record button?
Yeah.
I'm gonna start trying to remind you guys.
Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah, hey, knock on wood, I haven't missed a recording, and it's been a while. So, but
I did last week.
I
hadn't done it for a while, but
yeah, I'm hoping when school releases their new update where we can record, where we can run these in school, right, on the platform. I hope they have an auto record that just automatically does it, just like Zoom. Because
yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, but we'll see what happens. So, I think Betsy asked in the classroom. She asked about extract and the lifespan. Whenever you're creating a liquid amendment, right? It doesn't matter if you're creating an extract or a tea, or the amount of oxygen in that liquid is going to deplete quite rapidly, right? We can't breathe in water unless we have gills, and fish can breathe in water because they have gills, but you also have to aerate that water in order to keep that fish alive. That fish will use up the oxygen in that water eventually, and then it will die. The same goes for your microbes. Your microbes are using the oxygen that's in the water, and eventually, when that oxygen is depleted, when it's gone, those microbes will die. The more microorganisms you have in that liquid, the faster they will actually use up the oxygen. So this is why teas are meant to be used immediately. Like as soon as you make it, you use it. Extracts are a little more forgiving, but I don't like to play around with it. I'm like, hey, if you use it, if you made it, you spent all the time making it, a couple of minutes. But if you spent all that time making it, use it right away. Because the longer you wait, the more microorganisms are dying. And that's not really what we want, right? We want to keep those microorganisms alive, and we use them as soon as possible, get them down in the roots so that they can do what they need to. So life expectancy on an extract, I usually say about 4 hours. But I tell people to use it immediately because we're forgetful, and sometimes we leave it out, and then we don't remember when we made it or whatever. And it's best just to use it right away. Use it right away. But life expectancy, maybe 4 hours. And that depends on a lot of things, right? It depends on the temperature. The warmer it is, that goes down. The higher in elevation you are, that goes down. And the reason for that is there's less oxygen, right? So hopefully that answers your question, Betsy. The next one is Oh, visible mushrooms. So when you see mushrooms in your garden, that is a good thing. But there's different types of mushrooms out there, right? So we're going to talk about that really fast. Sometimes we have big mushrooms, little mushrooms. They're all different types, all different sizes, all different colors, right? And they all do sometimes different things in the soil. When I say they're doing different things, it's because there's different types of mushrooms out there. Some mushrooms will actually feed on decomposing organic material, right? Which is what we were talking about earlier. These are your saprophytic mushrooms, right? They're feeding on decaying organic material. That's what they do. That's what they enjoy doing. That's what they do in their entire life. Now, there's other mushrooms that are actually called parasitic mushrooms. These mushrooms will feed on living things and suck the life out of them. There's not a mutual relationship there. It's just parasitic, where one is just sucking the life out of the other one. It's kind of like, what are those animals called on whales? Whatever those animals are on whales, they just suck on them and they just, they just drain them. It's kind of like mosquitoes. They're parasitic. They're just sucking the blood out of you. They're not doing anything for you. They're just there.
Fleas.
What?
Like fleas.
Yeah, fleas too, right? Ticks. Yeah, you're right. So, right, they're just parasitic. It's a bad relationship there. So if you're going and you're just throwing random mushrooms and stuff into your garden, be careful, because sometimes you could be mixing in parasitic mushrooms. There's also mushrooms that are beneficial to plants. These are called mycorrhizal fungi, which we talked about earlier. And these usually build some of those will build relationships with plants where they build an infection site. I know it sounds bad, infection, right? But it's a good thing. They build a site inside of a root, and then they will exchange nutrients with that plant. So if the plant needs water, it will say, okay, here's this, I'll give me that. So it is a beneficial relationship with that. There's also the other half of those mycorrhizal fungi build kind of a shield around the root zone, which is protecting against pests and pathogens getting in there and kind of damaging the plant. So all different types. Be careful of what you put into the soil. Oh, additionally, there's some cool mushrooms out there. I believe the oyster mushrooms are these, which actually feed on nematodes. Good nematodes and bad nematodes. So remember that nematodes are one of those microorganisms that we want in the soil because they're cycling nutrients for us. If you throw a bunch of fungi in there, a bunch of oyster mushrooms in there, and they feed on nematodes, well, guess what? You're going to be reducing the number of nutrients that are available to your plant, because that fungi is going to be feeding on those nematodes. It's kind of cool. They build like a little lasso. If you think about this as being if you think about my hand being the fungal hyphae network, what they'll do is they'll build a little lasso over here on the network. And I'm trying to do my hand thing, but whatever. They'll build a little lasso, and they have the circle, and then they'll excrete some type of hormones into the soil that will attract these nematodes. The nematode will come, it will stick its head inside of that circle, that loop, and the fungi will actually tighten around it. It will swell up, and it will suffocate that nematode. It will wrap around it, and then it will release fluid or enzymes to break down that nematode. It will actually break it down, and then it will build a network or hyphae throughout that nematode. So different things going on in your soil. This is why I say diversity is key, right? We want a little bit of everything. We don't want a lot of one thing, because we don't know how it's going to affect the soil biology. If we're trying to grow vegetables and we're like, mushrooms are good, and we throw a bunch of stuff in there, but it's parasitic, or it's, eating all of our microorganisms, then we're going to have a big problem, because it's not going to cycle nutrients. And then we're going to be fostering an environment for more fungi, which could be the bad fungi that we don't want, right? So be careful, moderation. Don't just go out there and put, one or two things in a bunch of it, right? Diversity is going to be key here. A little bit of everything is going to be your friend. Sweet. I've talked a lot. We've gone 7 minutes over our usual thing, but Mary Heather's here. Mary Heather, what questions do you have for me? She's going to say none.
I'm not going to say none. Come on.
Oh, okay.
Come on. Okay, so I don't know if you would know. This is just the question I'm going to throw out there.
Sure.
I've been noticing a bunch of dead flies on my plants, on my flowers. And
Hmm.
I don't spray anything on my plants, like nothing, like literally no neem, no diatomaceous earth, literally have not even got a chemical this year. I don't know if my neighbor is doing it, but I don't know if there's anything else that could be doing that or that you would know about.
Yeah, you're right. I am not aware of any
Yeah.
thing that would kill flies and just make them dead like that.
Yeah,
Unless
like
it's
on the flower.
yeah, I have no idea. I'm not familiar with any plant unless it's like a Venus flytrap or what's that other one? The vase, the vase one,
Yeah.
right? That attract
It's
flies and then kill them.
my it's on that peppermint the most, but I saw it on a zinnia too, or a cosmos too.
Huh.
I
You
don't know.
could have what is it called? Overspray. So if your neighbors are spraying something, and if it does, like if there's a little bit of wind or breeze, that will come onto your plants, and then it could be doing that. That happens in the big ag, right? Where they're spraying and they're using airplanes
Yeah.
or using drones to spray this pesticide. You'll get overspray, and that will end up going into other people's property
Yeah.
and stuff. So
And she's like right there. Like, I mean, we have a fence line together, so
yeah,
I mean, it's possible. I hope not, but I mean, I think she's too cheap for that, but maybe she is.
I don't know, but like,
Okay.
Plants.
go
Huh?
ahead.
I was saying they land on a lot of different plants, so they could land on a plant and then fly over to your place and have gotten the poison somewhere else.
That's true too.
Yeah, that's true.
You had
All right.
another question?
Yes. Okay, so this one's more on the soil topic. So, so Sam asked me a question about her soil, and
Yeah.
she's, hers is really clay, it's right by that walnut tree. So, she's got a lot of issues with that, but she was wondering if she went and got, she mostly has pumpkins. She also has tomatoes. And some other herbs and stuff, but she was wondering if she got like soil from the woods, if that would help, or would it be a lot of effort for nothing? Because she has a ton of soil up there, but
So would it help? The easy answer is yes. You're bringing in different microorganisms from a different region, but at the end of the day, you would have to know what's in that soil first in order to be able to sway it one way or the other. If she's growing annuals, then she really does not want fungi in the soil unless she doesn't have any at all, because your annuals are going to want more bacterial dominated soils. But so it's kind of hard to know if it's going to be beneficial or not because we don't know what's actually going on, right? So what's actually in the soil. So, and the other question is, what is she trying to fix?
I mean, her plants grow really slow, and I do think she needs like a top layer of like mulch or something over top of that. I think that's the main thing. Is just like more nutrients to the plants, maybe.
Okay.
Because they're growing so slow.
Yeah.
I mean, some of her plants grow well, but she was just thinking maybe it would like counteract some of the where she's underneath a walnut tree, some of that as well.
So I think a solution for that, if I were to try to address that, it would be creating an extract, right? Because you're not going to dig up anything, you're not going to add organic material into it. So I would create an extract, and if she did want to use some forest material inside of that extract, then I would do that, right? She could add some of that biology in there. But again, I don't know what's in her soil or what's missing, right? So we're kind of
Right.
playing a guessing game right here. So diversity is going to help out. So grab a hand, grab some of your soil, take it over there, maybe stop by a couple of different places on the way, grab some handfuls, right? Grab a handful out of a compost pile, and then mix in with, and then create it and then use it on her soil and kind of see how it goes. But I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, you can do all of this, but if it's exposed to the sunlight and the soil dries out, then you're kind of SOL. So I would say mulch layer for sure.
And I went there to like do some, like, she was like, went out of town, I went and watered her, and her hose doesn't even reach. So I think she's just doing it by like water cans. I'm like, that's a lot of effort. That's a lot of effort right there. So
Yeah.
I'm sure that doesn't happen all the time. So yeah, I mean, yeah, so something like that.
Well, yeah. And if her hose doesn't reach and she's got to do all that extra work, then maybe adding a mulch layer will be beneficial more than just saving the microbes. It will also help her save some of that moisture, right? So
Yeah.
I think you're on the right track with what she's doing. It's hard to diagnose something, or add something into a system if you don't know what's going on, right? So, but that's what I would do, right? Whenever I have an issue, I just go straight for the extract. That's my go-to. So, sweet. More questions, or just 2 today?
Just 2, I think.
Okay.
That's all I've been thinking about. I did want to mention that I dug up the 2 bushes that were completely dead, and I put coneflowers, which have a taproot, and then I got a couple other plants that have taproots, and I put them in there just to like give them. But when I was digging it up, it wasn't as solid as I remembered, so that might not be the problem. So I'm just like, well, I'll just enjoy the flowers for now. Like, maybe just the diversity of new plants coming in and me focusing on wanting to water them because they're pretty flowers might help.
I mean, so anytime you put roots into the ground, right? This is why living roots or cover crops are so important. It's because they will actually break up the soil, right? And the bigger the plant is, the farther the roots go and the more they break it up. So in your case, this is where we're talking about maybe it's a bowl and the clay is creating, so maybe the roots actually got out there a little ways and we're breaking these things up. But at the end of the day, maybe it was too much for the plant. But again, diagnosing without testing is kind of difficult.
So when I pulled it up, it did not look like it had spread at all. It looked very much in the same. It's almost like I took it back out and it was still in the pot almost.
Oh, okay.
So maybe it was that, but the roots were brown, like completely brown.
What kind of amendments did you put into the hole?
I did compost and worm castings, and that's it. Yeah.
Okay. Was the compost? Did you notice that the compost was warm?
Was warm?
Yeah.
When I put it in originally?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Okay. Sometimes composting companies will sell compost that's not fully cured, and if it's still warm, then I would recommend not using it inside a planting hole. But I'm just spitballing here, right? Like you said, you had issues. I'm just trying to figure out maybe something else. But sometimes if it's high in nitrogen, because I was talking to somebody, I was talking to somebody because I had a delivery this week, and they were saying that they had bought some compost and it was really rich and it was burning their plants, and it took about a year for it to calm down. And now they're like, oh, now my plants go great. But that first year I had, leaves were turning yellow. Yeah, the plant was struggling. It wasn't doing well. And it's just because the compost was hot. So excess amount of nitrogen, or maybe the decomposition process hasn't fully finished yet. And it's decomposing inside the root zone, which is just not a good thing. So.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I still think there definitely was probably a cat partial issue. I think I'm going to definitely say that. I mean, they're probably killing whatever microbes that
Yeah.
should be going to the plant as well. And
Yeah.
where I place the plants far enough apart, hopefully they won't be as likely to go back there. And they haven't seemed to, so we'll see.
That's good. I just thought about something that we did to keep our cats off the counter. Aluminum foil. They don't like walking on it. So maybe, and it acts as a mulch, right? The problem is it acts as a non-breathable mulch, so you got to be careful with
I poke some holes in it, maybe.
Yeah, there you go. Just poke some holes in. That'll probably help. Because if you have high humidity and a lot of water, like you don't want it to mold and go bad on you, right? Go anaerobic. But maybe that's a solution too. I don't know if we ever gave you that solution, but that could be.
No, I haven't thought about that.
So, okay.
That's a cheap way to do it too.
Yeah. I remember because we had food or whatever on the counters, and the cats used to jump up there and eat it. And we used to be like, "How do you get them off of there?" You just put aluminum foil, and they don't like it. It's something about the noise or crinkling. I don't know, but they just don't like it.
Okay.
Cool. More questions? No?
I think so.
All righty. Hey, Jim, you got anything else for me?
Nope, I'm pretty good.
Okay. Well, I'm going to address a couple of more things that I saw in the community, but you guys are more than happy to bounce if you need to. I know Mary Heather's driving. It's dangerous out there. Be careful. So we talked about visible mushrooms. Betsy asked a question about sifted compost. She said she was getting tired of sifting compost. I'm lazy gardener. You guys know that. I do not sift compost. A couple of reasons. One, I'm lazy. Two, you break up the fungal hyphae networks that you built inside of that compost. Right. We spend a lot of time, a lot of effort creating a compost pile. And then when we let it mature, we are letting it mature so it creates these so it creates mycelium, which is just a network of fungal hyphae. So it creates this mycelium, right? And if we sift it, we break those things up, right? So all that hard work we did, as soon as we sift it, we break that stuff up. We kill some of the biology as well because it's smashing into the metal screen, and we're reducing the amount of biology that was originally in it. So I don't do it. There's a lot of people that do. It does. I understand you get rid of the big chunks, right? I get rid of the big chunks by pulling them out. But if I got other chunkier stuff in there, I just leave it. I don't pull it out. It doesn't look as pretty, right? I get it. But I'm not going after pretty. I'm going after biology. And those are two different things. So do you have to sift? Absolutely not. I would take shovelfuls and just use it wherever you need it. If you've got big chunks in it that are that are not decomposed yet, just pull them out and just stick them back in the compost pile. But save your back, save your arms if you want to. Now, if you want something that looks homogeneous and all pretty and stuff, by all means, just know that you're killing the biology when you are sifting it. The next thing is David asked talked about top dressing with worm castings. Never, ever, 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 ever top dress with worm castings.
Don't do it.
What? Don't. Yeah, just don't do it. Don't do it. UV rays, right, from the sunlight, or the sun has UV in its rays, ultraviolet light in its rays, which kills microorganisms. That's what we use to, when COVID happened, they put these lights into the hospital rooms, right? UV rays to kill all to kill the biology. If you top dress, you're killing the biology, and you might as well just throw your money out the window. So never, ever, 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 ever top dress with worm castings. You always want to make sure that those go into the soil, that are covered, and that they're as close as possible to the plant roots, like we were talking about with the mycorrhiza, with the fungal spores earlier. And the last thing that I have for everybody is Soil Wars. Please pace yourself. Pace yourself. It is a marathon. It is not a sprint. You don't have to do big, crazy things, right? This is why watering is on the list. You can just water, and that'll be your one task. You can just go out into the garden and look for pests or look for signs of distressed plants and count that as a task. Okay.
Yeah, but then you just go out there and you're like, oh, well, I need to do this, and then I need to do that. Oh, but I should probably get this done while I'm also out here. It's the gardening curse,
Oh, you got me. This is how I get y'all out there in the garden to actually look at what's going on. But the more, yes, you're right. But remember, like, you don't have to do those things. So I know life sometimes gets busy and it gets hectic, right? Just if you just run the hose through the garden real quick, that's all you got to do, right? If you just go out there and just look at one plant, you're like, something's eating it. Just take a picture of it. You're like, what could be eating my plant? That's it. It's all about learning and just doing, getting out there and doing something, right? It doesn't have to be elaborate. You don't have to create a video on calendula like somebody, right? You could just go out there and look at your calendula or look at your flower and be like, what type of plant is this? And post it. And you're learning. It's all about learning, right? So we all learn differently.
I know my client's here.
Oh,
So
yeah. Bye.
Bye.
So pace yourself. Just do little things. You don't have to do a lot, okay? But that's all I really have for you guys today. Jim, unless you got something else, that's it. Hope you have a good weekend.
Yep, sounds good. I appreciate it.
All right.
You do the same.
All right. See you. Bye.